Okay, hello students, welcome. Today we are going to discuss a topic called as heredity and evolution. So evolution has been removed from our chapter. So let's just start with heredity. Okay, here we'll discuss about Mendel's experiments and laws of inheritance. So, what exactly heredity is? Heredity is nothing but the transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. What do we mean by that? Is basically, for examples, I have black hairs, okay, or my eyeballs are black in colors, or this part, right? Or if let's talk about my skin, okay, so it has a certain color. It has my finger, the shape of my fingers look somewhat similar to my father. Maybe my lips look similar to my mother. So all these characteristics which offspring holds comes from both the parents, and some of the characteristics are shown more than compared to the other. Okay, so heredity is the transmission of the characters from parents to their offsprings through genes. Okay, now who is the father of genetics? Gregor Johann Mendel. Okay, now what Mendel did was he actually did experiment on pea plant called as Pisum sativum. Okay, Pisum sativum. Now, what he actually used to do is, let's discuss that. Okay, so Mendel actually, took these pea plants and he started studying these. So what he did is he took some contrasting characteristics like tall and dwarf, round and wrinkled seed, and he started studying that how many plants are becoming tall into another generation. If the plant, like the seeds are growing into another generation, how many plants are dwarf? What if we cross them, okay, crossbreed them, then what happens? How many tall and dwarf plants then we are getting? So in total he studied 7 such traits or pairs. Okay, such traits he was studying, and then he came to few conclusions. Okay, so he carefully observed and recorded results from F1 generation, that is nothing but first generation, you can say. So first filial generation, and F2 generation, that is second filial generation. Okay, now, so first he went on and what he did is, for example, let me just draw it for you. So this is another example, okay, and this is another. So let me draw this for you. So what happened? He took one tall parent whose genetics was completely tall. So this was tall parent with having two, different types of character that was tall only. Okay. Then two different types of factors, you can say. And dwarf plant was having small t and small t. Okay. Now dwarf parent looked dwarf only, tall parent looked tall only. Now in the F1 generation, what we noticed is that all the plants are tall only. Okay. All the plants are tall. Now, once we, went to the F2 generation, what we noticed is that in F2 generation, there were two tall plants, okay, and three tall plants and one dwarf plant. Okay, but if we looked into the genotype says that this is completely tall, and these two are like, tall, but also have the characteristic of the dwarf as well. Okay, and this is completely dwarf plant. Okay, so the ratio came out as 3:1 in F2 generation, that three tall plants are there and one dwarf plant is there. Okay, so even though these two held the characteristics of dwarf plant as well, but one of the characteristics of the tall plant became dominant over the dwarf plant. Okay, so these traits were controlled by some factors. Now we call those factors as genes. Okay, so in these plants, no, the genes for tall plant was also there and short plant was also there. But what happened? The tall plant showed itself. Okay, it dominated over the dwarf characteristics or dwarf genes. So here one more example you can look at, and maybe you can take a screenshot and understand that. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to me. Okay, through this he came to a conclusion of law of dominance. Okay, so dominant trait is the trait where the expressed in F1 generation, and when two contrasting traits are crossed. So even if like you are crossing yellow and let's say green plants. So in the F1 generation, you will notice all the yellow seeds, only yellow seeds are there because that is the dominating character. Okay, so even though these genes are there for the green, you can say seed, the genes are there, yet yellow, the seeds are turned as yellow because this is dominating trait. Okay, and the recessive trait is the one which is being masked in the F1 generation, which is not being shown in the F1 generation and can reappear or is reappearing in F2 generation in very small amount. Okay. So in tall plants, if we talk about, so this small t is going to be the recessive trait, and big T is, or capital T is going to be the, you can say, dominating trait. Okay. Now, if we do a dihybrid cross, so Mendel, most complex experiment was studying two characteristics at the same time, and he was trying to figure out whether one characteristic is dependent on the other or not. Okay, he was trying to understand whether if the seeds are, yellow, they are going to be round, or they are going to be, wrinkled, or how they are going to be. Are they connected? Are they supposed to be like that or no? Okay, so once he did this, no, he got, he took one, parent which was completely dominating in nature, that was yellow and round, and the second parent was green and wrinkled. Okay, then he crossed them in F1 generation, he got this, and in F2 generation, he got different varieties. So there were 9 round yellow seeds, then 3 round green seeds, 1, 2, 3, right? Then 3 wrinkled yellow seeds, you can see here 1, 2, and 3. And lastly, 1 wrinkled green, this. Okay, so he came to a ratio of 9:3:3:1. So these ratios could be asked. For dihybrid cross, the ratio is this. Okay, and for phenotype, and for the monohybrid cross, it was 3:1. This is nothing but phenotypic ratio. What is phenotype? Is outer characters. Okay, so phenotypic ratio. Genotype is what is present in the genes, or what kind of genes are there. So from this, he came to the law of segregation. He said that each organism has 2 factors, alleles, for each trait. Okay, so either it can be, a flower can be white or violet. Okay, so for everything, for color of flower can be 2 factors, for height of the plant 2 factors, for color of seed 2 factors are there, for the shape of the seed 2 factors are there. Then he said separation during gamete formation. These factors during formation of gamete, they separate out from each other. Okay, and 1 factor per gamete goes into the, you can say, the offspring. Okay, so each gamete, sperm or egg carries only 1 allele for each trait. So let me just explain you like this. So for example, this is father. Okay, and the father plant, or the male plant, let's say. Okay, and this is having yellow seeds and round seeds, and this is wrinkle, and this has, let's say, let me just write it small. Yeah, green seeds and small. Now what happens? It will produce gametes. Okay, so here the type of gamete will be same, right? Like this only. Okay, then this is here YR and small YR. Okay, now once these will combine, the F1 generation will be formed, right? So F1 generation will have, let's say, this. Okay, now once these, reach to F2 generation, there can be 4 types of gamete. This, and let's say, sorry, let me just draw like this. Okay, this and small I. Now, this one and this one can also be there in one kind of, animal or one offspring. This and this can also be there in one offspring, right? So now you can understand that how different kinds of, combinations can be made, right? More than one combination can be made. So that is what is it saying, that 1 factor per gamete goes, okay, in, right? So now comes the law of independent assortment. So genes for different traits are inherited independently. That is what I was telling you. So it is not supposed to have that if a seed is yellow in color, so it does have to have, round also, to be round also. It can be yellow and wrinkled. It can be round and, yellow. It can be, yellow and, yeah, we discussed that. It can be wrinkled and, green in color. Okay, so this is what it explains. Again, we will go in the depths of it. This is a, huge chapter to cover. We'll do that. And so this applies to genes on the different chromosomes. Even the chromosomes are far apart. That is something we'll have to discuss in the class. Okay. Very small amount of time, won't be able to cover all that. Okay, so now can you tell who is the father of genetics? And can you answer what was the F2 ratio in the monohybrid cross? The phenotypic ratio I told you about. And lastly, state Mendel's law of independent assortment. Okay. So with this, thank you so much for joining the session. I hope you got to learn the story of, the pea plant. Okay, and you will be able to answer these questions now. And thank you so much for joining again. You can, contact me through my profile. Take care. Bye-bye.